But now we head over to the National Football League. Before we get into the picks for championship weekend, let's take a gander back here at the divisional round. As there we go.
Oh, great!
Hello, gentlemen.
Busting through the doors. Welcome in, Ernest, DJ Christian. How are we doing this week?
Well, I was in North Florida, a little snow there, so a little shaky. You getting snow there, Kyle? Oh, no.
No, not yet. Thank God.
Oh my God, it's been crazy up there. Up in
Why the fuck do I need snow chains in Florida? This is bullshit.
Because why not? Because why not?
Shut up, Ernest.
4 chains, wouldn't it?
You'll be okay. Hi, Michael.
Listen, if I were allowed to pad up, I'm 45, I can't. If I were allowed to pad up and play a football game as an offensive lineman in the snow, I might be a little bit more excited about it. I'll be honest.
Okay.
That's fair. That is fair.
Sounds good.
But let's take a look back at the divisional weekend in the National Football League. Student of the game, I'll start with you. Biggest takeaway from divisional weekend?
Boy, there's some whiny bitches out there with some horrible takes. Good God. I'm just going to make it general with that, but point to 2 particular things. A, it wasn't the ref's fault. The calls were bad. They didn't decide the game. Stop it. Okay? Just stop it. B, this wasn't Lamar Demetrius Jackson's fault. Yeah, he had a turnover. Shit happens. Okay? I'm not putting it all on Mark Andrews either, but let's be honest. That whole play took from us the opportunity for an epic comeback that everybody, Ernest would be losing his entire mind right now, I'm sure. We didn't get that. So but
silver lining, possibly?
Yeah, silver lining is the Bills still have a shot. There's that, I guess.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Texans. To just take a quick touch on that first point. Yeah, the Texans did more to themselves than calls did. I don't hate that people are even in-game broadcast. Like I thought, to me it was wild to hear. I think one of my favorite tweets of the weekend was Troy Aikman's become a much better broadcaster since he just doesn't give a fuck. Which I get the spirit of the thing, because sometimes guys get way too corporate covered. They just they like to stay in like the safe little box. I think Aikman and Buck do a pretty good job, especially this season, of kind of breaking that mold a little bit. But yeah, were there bad calls? Absolutely. We've talked the pattern a bit over the course of the season, but the Texans made way too many mistakes to be able to say that is why they lost.
Again, Jim. Again, right?
Correct.
This is what the Texans are: is a bunch of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Okay, no, stop it. You're only in the playoffs.
Going yourself in the playoff.
Correct. First of all, terrible, just terrible. That is so goddamn rude.
Terrible.
So goddamn true.
Also that.
So goddamn rude.
That's that was beautiful. So I can't with Texans fans, man. And I don't even dislike the Texans. It's the fans. And if we're going to complain about quarterbacks getting the benefit of the doubt, what the fuck was Troy Aikman all through Brady's career? But nobody wants to talk about that.
Well, he was probably scared of his bosses at Fox. But EJ,
I haven't hired him yet, Jim. That's all I'm saying.
But EJ, your biggest takeaway from divisional weekend?
Yeah, I guess my one takeaway, I've been tweeting about it for the last 48 hours since the end of the divisional weekend, is just the way Lamar Jackson is covered. And I'm criticizing both sides of it, not just the side that over criticized, but the one that overpraised him too also, and don't leave any nuance in the middle. And we have friends of mine, we have mutual friends, Kyle, you and I, in the media that do cover Lamar Jackson in a way where, okay, I understand that you wanted to course correct the criticism he gets, though, but you don't do that by going the opposite end of the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Well, also, if it is who I think it is, there's a political agenda there too. Let's be clear.
And that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, you're part of the problem when you're doing that stuff. You know. Look, he did he play a okay game, I guess some parts, yes. What were they in the hole because of him? Yes. Did he do a good job getting the team back in the game? Yes. Both me right here. I wish we get to a point that we could just cover this guy in a nuanced situation. Like, he's a great quarterback. Okay, he lost his game. Okay, he's still a top 2-3 guy in the league. Okay, that's not going to change. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, EJ. You know a good way to get that coverage? Listen to the Student of the Game podcast.
Got him. Yeah, well, I mean, I think not just isolating it on Lamar Jackson. That's kind of become the way that a lot of sports media is now. And it's probably part of the reason why, at least on a national level, I haven't listened to pretty much anybody but Dan Patrick or Rich Eisen for the past, insert number of double-digit number of years here.
Oh, you listen to Rich Eisen? That's such a shock, Michigan homer. Sorry.
Oh, calm down, man.
It's the setup. Remember, I can't spell I am Homer without Jim James Harbaugh. Okay, we've confirmed that on this show.
It's true. But yeah, it's just become it's either blank player is the worst blank of all time of this generation, etc. Or did you see what blank did in this game? They are the best of this generation. Like, no, like, you can have a great game, you can have a bad game, you can cost your team in the first quarter, you can get them back in the second, but maybe don't dig the hole. I mean, again, like, we can talk about how great of a comeback attempt it was last night, but don't dig yourself a 31-7 hole, and you might be able to win the game. So, like, like, don't put the ball on the ground multiple times, and even in that discussion, like I saw numerous tweets yesterday, Lamar Jackson says he's tired of people putting the ball on the ground. Like, the intentional clickbaity of they're trying to paint this picture that he's blaming the loss on Mark Andrews when if you listen to the clip,
he's accountability. He's accountability for that shit. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the unfortunate nature of what sports media has become.
But a lot of it too. Also, go ahead, Mike.
You know what I'm sick and tired of?
What?
Like, let's not talk about the fact that Zay Flowers was out that game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's not bring up the fact that his best wide receiver didn't play a snap in that football game. Let's talk about
it.
Because some of you are smart.
Thank you.
Let's also talk about the fact that I've said on this show, hey, you went out and you got Derrick Henry. You got your guy. You got the guy to put the team on your back. We talked about it all year. The games they've lost, the guys had 12, 14. He has 16 carries in a road playoff game.
Bad weather.
Mike, in saying this now, do we have to revisit again, like last year in the Ape-style game? Is this now, again, a John Harbaugh problem?
No, because it's putting the football on the ground problem rather than them not having the ball to give them the ball more.
I'm going to say this because normally you're 1,000,000,000% correct, Mike. What must be accounted for, as I've said many times, and you already know where I'm going. I'm not dissing.
Oh, I know. I know where you're going.
But yeah, it's the most underrated defensive tackle core in the NFL. Can we please give these motherfuckers some credit there in Buffalo?
Oh, absolutely. But I will say Derrick Henry averaging 5.3 yards a carry. You have to look at that. His longest carry of the game was 17 yards before anyone goes, well, he had an 80-yard touchdown run, so it makes the rest of it look good. Kind of like Saquon Barkley having 2 touchdowns.
I love how you're doing
65 yards.
My friends.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you have a guy who's running for 5 yards a clip, like, you try to find a way to get him the ball a little bit more than 16 times in a road playoff game in questionable weather. I get it. The Mark Andrews stuff hurts because he fumbles and then he drops the 2-point conversion. It happens. It happens more often than people think. It happens in the regular season. And you know what they say? All right, we move forward. All right, we're focused on Cincinnati. It's on to Cincinnati. It's on to Chicago. We don't talk about it whenever a team loses a game and they're 4-2, but we put it under a magnifying glass when it ends their season.
Sure.
By the way, in the name of Lamar Demetrius Jackson, I will take accountability. I didn't mean Jim James Harbaugh. I meant James Joseph Harbaugh. That's how you correctly spell I am a homer.
There you go.
Jim Joseph Harbaugh.
Mikey B, your takeaway from Divisional Weekend.
My takeaway, I kind of hinted at it a little bit when we were talking. Who knew that our opening soundbite of our show would be right also 1 year later? The legend of Mike Sanderstrill.
Yeah.
Two
Mike Sanderstill.
huge interceptions in the state of Michigan to break the Lions' hearts.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody.
The only person that's got it better than Mike Sanderstill right now is no one.
No one. Nobody.
The kid wins a national title at Michigan, gets drafted, has 2 interceptions in the regular season, picks off Jared Goff twice in the state of Michigan. Holy shit, Batman.
Yeah, that's I wasn't even thinking about the fact that that game, of course, was played in Michigan, not far from Ann Arbor. The
Kudos to the Washington Commanders offense as well. I have to
absolutely
give them all the praise in the world.
Red Tails. Sorry, Commanders.
Yes. But I will say this. The Detroit Lions really feel like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at points right now. Wow, I really would like to see what that defense would do with Manny Rodriguez playing linebacker. I would really love to see what that defense would do with Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line. I would really love to see what they would do with their top 2 cornerbacks not on injured reserve. I'm sorry, their second and their third, because Kirby Joseph was still healthy. But like the injury bug that we talked about in week 7 and week 8, that we said it's just going to be a matter of time until this defense can't do it anymore. And you know what was the breaking point? The offense finally started turning the football over. It left the defense on the field for too long.
Yeah.
I like Jared Goff. I like Sonic and Knuckles. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. But the thought process in a football game, and Dan Campbell, you're my dog. I will run through a wall for you, but what the fuck are we doing having a fucking wide receiver throw a football in a game where you need points immediately? Ben Johnson, enjoy those trick plays. I heard DJ Moore can throw it real well too. We'll see if Caleb Williams is good at catching passes. I don't get it. I don't get the play call. I've never questioned Dan Campbell on this show. I've been the guy, and you guys can say it in the chat. I've defended Dan Campbell more times than not when his play call is even stupid. I'm the one that's going, nah, I would do it too. I would run through a wall for that guy because most of the time it works. But in a game where you need points and your quarterback has turned the football over, you're like, yeah, you know what, Jameson Williams, you throw it.
Yeah. We've regularly quipped on this show, you live by the Dan Campbell, you die by the Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
And this is 2 years in a row. Now, granted, this year you probably also died by the injury bug, but you have also died by the Dan Campbell for the second year in a row. And this
is the injury bug so much. Some of us didn't even make the playoffs because of that shit. Okay, like it was.
I mean, you're not wrong, but when
Playoffs,
when you're there and you have the opportunity to get healthy for the biggest game or the biggest 2 games of the year, get healthier. It's definitely some questionable decisions. This is not in any way, shape, or form saying that the Lions should make any thought about changing their head coach because that
if they want to fire Dan Campbell, I'll take him in Cincinnati right now.
I would take him in
oh
Dallas.
shit! Jacksonville's got him first, motherfucker.
There's a lot of teams who are going to lie. You know what? I feel like if Detroit would fire Dan Campbell, every fan base in America just gets to meet in the center of this country, and whoever has the most people standing at the end gets Dan Campbell. Like I feel like that's just how
that's standing on a podium just yelling out motivational things. You're just like, I might want to die, but I'm gonna run through this goddamn wall.
Build a coliseum in the center of this country, and everybody's gonna gladiator fight to see who gets Dan Campbell as their new head coach. But yeah, the certainly a another off season of disappointment for Detroit. There's some fans there still happy to get to the dance. Bye, EJ.
Bye,
that's so goddamn rude.
Well, I mean, maybe the library shut down and the internet had to get cut off for the night. But Yeah, for me, one of the biggest takeaways, and I'll glance on it quickly, is the Jared Goff thing. Like I've been a Jared Goff defender to a degree. Like he's never going to be Patrick Mahomes, but you don't need that. Teams have certainly won Super Bowls with worse, but for a guy who is very reliable with not turning the ball over, you can't do it in your biggest game, dude. Like, to date, and that's certainly what he did. Also, we talk about, would have loved to have seen the national championship without the defensive injuries. Would have loved to have seen the Lions without defensive injuries. For Kyle, would have loved to have seen the Niners to play a season without injuries. I would have loved to have seen the Rams versus the Eagles without the snow. Because now certainly I think it kind of reared its head for both teams, but the Rams were in that game more than I gave them credit for. Even in bad weather. And I, again, this is why Philly won the right to play at home, because you can have at least, if nothing else, crowd advantage, stadium advantage, and playing in those elements, practicing in those elements. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen that game not in a snowstorm.
It's a credit too, also the Rams defense, and because the thought was, okay, well, they're LA team finesse, they're going to the East Coast, playing the Eagles in the trenches in the snow, and that defense showed up. They showed up in the trenches. So,
that was kind of where I was going to go with, the fact that if you take the two long Saquon Barkley touchdowns off of the board, 24 carries for 60-something yards, he's averaging 2.7 yards a carry. Shout out to the front seven there to keeping him contained, with the exception of those two long touchdown runs. Right. I mean,
and then the Jalen Hurts run too, also when they go forward.
Well, I'm just saying, Saquon was probably the main focus on film.
Oh, obviously.
So to have the guy who myself and Kyle talked about being a potential front runner for the MVP award on the Student of the Game End of the Year awards. 2.7
reverse while we're here, and the Defensive Rookie of the Year unanimously.
I was letting you get it,
my man.
So I think shout out to the Rams defense. Like, a lot of people thought, okay, the Rams are coming and they're going to have to score. They're going to have to score 35 points because it's going to be 45-35. Like, they didn't think it was Jared Verse and the defense was going to be able to stop, or not stop, because they didn't stop him, but contain Saquon Barkley to an extent.
Not 255 yards. I think that was the main goal.
Yeah, sure. No.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lot of people. Oh, look, it's Aaron Charles Donald. He's not there anymore. This run defense is not going to be able to stop the machine. Well, they didn't really stop him. They contained him with the exception of the two long touchdown drives, and they gave themselves an opportunity to win a football game late. I don't think they could ask for any more on the road in the middle of a snowstorm.
I think we're dismissing the snow just a little bit, though, with this, because, listen, for one, the Eagles won't have any more teams who regularly use the term bruh in a surfing context anymore for the rest of the season, so that's going to matter less. A, B, I can't help but notice that this very team had 2 turnovers, probably because the snow was involved to an extent. These are things that happen. So I think not bringing that into the mix is incomplete. But everything else, I get you. I'm on board.
So real quick, while Ernest is away, Kyle, are you watching the Magic game?
I did see 95-80. That is, I'm going to have an awful lot to write about that very soon.
I only ask because the Raptors are wearing their City Editions jerseys tonight.
I have not seen that part yet. No.
So it is the Raptor, like the old school Raptor that's on their jersey, doing the Vince Carter between his leg dunk, from the dunk contest. So It's the Raptor wearing the number 15 Vince Carter jersey. I think that might be the sickest logo I think I've ever seen on a basketball court.
But now I have to check it.
That's fire. Ernest might actually like that logo too.
Was that now?
The Raptors City Edition. Sorry, I'm watching the Raptors game on NBA TV, and it's the Raptor doing the between the leg Vince Carter dunk.
Oh,
nice.
So he's wearing the number 15 for Vince Carter. Like, Sorry, I just watched. It's the big ass logo right in the middle of the court. And it keeps distracting me every time we go. So I had to say something. Sorry.
Welcome back to Huddle Up Podcast. It was a great segue.
Devin's takeaway from the
I'm playing
weekend.
right now, actually.
Devin's takeaway from the weekend. He thinks game's more interesting with the snow. Yeah, I mean, certainly there's people who do enjoy that and do love the element of weather. There's others that don't.
And they're a-holes.
I mean, here's the deal. This will come as a surprise to everybody, but my interest in wondering what the Eagles-Rams game would have looked like in not snowy weather, because I think the Rams probably would have won that game, and I say that for biased reasons. But
You said what you said.
I mean, the game was close enough in the bad weather, but it didn't happen in nice weather. It happened in snowy weather, and the Eagles advanced. So let's
real quick though. My fear now is that because Notre Dame lost last night, rather, that now they're going to reward your brother and Matt now with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. I would prefer Notre Dame winning last night and the Eagles not getting the Super Bowl, losing the Super Bowl altogether. I can't have both, and I don't want the Eagles. So,
why'd you?
In the words of
you didn't have to say that.
I mean,
Shut your mouth.
Just saying.
Jim got 4 teams in the playoff. You got 22. What are you bitching about?
I'm saying I don't want the Eagles to win it. That's all.
I mean, at least you're not writing letters to the sports gods on your fucking social media.
Hey man, I was doing anything and everything. I was making offerings. I was doing what I could. It didn't work out.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, Jim.
That's true, brother.